All right, so welcome to our course on statistics, business statistics. Now, I know that we met on Monday and we had a chance to kind of go over the outline, but for the benefit of some people who may not have been there, I thought that I should just kind of just recap some of the things that we talked about. So first of all, just go quickly through the structure of the course in Brightspace, what is expected, and sort of quickly show what's in MindTap, and that way then hopefully all the bugs and everything or misunderstandings are cleared up. All right, so table of contents, once you get into D2L, will show that we have a course outline, and sort of went through the course outline. And as I mentioned in that course outline, you will see the topics, and for each topic you will see a link to the current video lecture that I have, and as well you will see some problems that I would like us to do in class, but also give you a chance to try them ahead of coming to class, and that way when we meet in class and we attempt them and the rest of the other questions that you didn't get a chance to attempt, then we are able to get a lot more done and hopefully deepen our understanding of the material. So structure is fairly straightforward. Courses are laid out by week, and then the links to the video for that respective topic is there with the questions. I don't expect you to do all these questions before coming. If you are keen and you get them all done, that's great. Then we'll just attempt some additional questions while the rest of us are still working on some of those, but just one or two to kind of get the feel for the questions. But in addition to that, I do want us to actually do the cases. So you may want to just try to read the case ahead of time if you have a chance. If not, we will actually, the cases are not too long, so we could read them in the class and essentially attempt the problem in class. So I do intend for each class to actually work on a case, a small case in the textbook that actually have a bit more detail than the sort of smaller problems, and then you would have to be using your Excel spreadsheet with that. So those of you who are not so strong with Excel, if you could brush up on that a little bit, that would certainly help. I think you could watch some videos. Pretty much it's like handling data, sorting, doing some basic formulas to multiply, divide, and those sorts of things in Excel. I think most of you will be quite familiar with it. Later on, there are some functions that could speed things up for us when we get into the normal distribution. We could certainly, or t-distribution and so on, use the functions to get the values that we're looking for a lot more quickly. So we'll do that, all right? So that's the course outline. Fairly straightforward. MindTap course access, so essentially just a quick link. Rather than you trying to remember, I know some of you would have it bookmarked, but if you're in Brightspace, then you can just click on that and go straight to the MindTap course. The concept of the flipped classroom I explained in class, but just in case you're one of those students who were not there, the idea is that with the flipped classroom, instead of spending a lot of class time lecturing, we move the lectures outside of the classroom. Students preview that before coming to class, and then we spend more time in the class doing, first and foremost, a review of the topic so that we understand it, and secondly, more time working problems to ensure that we fully understand the concepts. So that's really the idea. For the flipped classroom to work well, it requires that you prepare ahead of time. And so I know that as we get deeper into the semester, you get busy. So it's very important that you establish a routine from the starting of the course where you will meet, where you will set aside a specific chunk of time for watching your video lectures before coming to class, okay? If you could do that, that would certainly help. Now, I would kind of recommend as a strategy, rather than watch the video lectures, first, I would say, why don't you flip through either the PowerPoint notes, which are basically a summary of the chapters, or flip through the textbook based on the sections that we're covering, and then watch the video, so that when you watch the video, there is some familiarity. It's kind of analogous to if you were asked to come to class having read chapters 1 to 3, and then the instructor spend some time. So it's kind of like the flipped classroom itself. But I'm just thinking in the traditional sense, the instructor still actually lecture, but they want you to preview the chapters before coming in. When you do that, the terminology that you hear used in the classroom and so on is usually not foreign to you. You have a sense of it already because you have actually previewed the chapter. The difference between that and our flipped classroom is that I would not be lecturing, I would be doing a review. And then if there are particular areas that are not fully understood, then I will kind of spend a little bit of time making sure that I explain that better, rather than giving you a full-fledged lecture, all right? And then, because we want to really maximize the amount of time that we engage with solving problems in the classroom. So that's the basic idea. All right, so apps for the course, because we're going to do some assignments online, and I've actually decided now that we will do the first 2 assignments online. The last 3 assignments, which is where I think your exam will pretty much come from, we'll do your final exam, that is. We will do those as paper-based assignments. So it will be a 2-3 split. At first I was thinking of a 3-2 split, but we'll give you a 2-3 split. 2 assignments online and an online test, and then 3 paper-based assignments that allows me to ask kind of the kind of questions where you have to do some explanations and so on. Not necessarily just pure computation, but a bit of computation and also interpretation as well. And so that part of the course is really where the inferential statistics lie. And it would be nice to have a bit more control over that. MindTap still, although it does ask some questions that it considered to be applications, I still find that the level of questioning is still emphasizing basic understanding, memorization, and application. But we want to get a little deeper, okay? And so assignments 3, 4, and 5 will take care of that, and that will prepare you for your final exam. From time to time, I will do a couple of additional questions as tutorials. So while I have the video lectures, some of those questions that I asked you to do from the textbook, since I know that we're not going to complete all of them, I will do 1 or 2 of those as supplementary or tutorial questions and post that here so that way you could see how the problem was actually worked. So I will probably title it Problem 5, Chapter 6, Problem 21. And then work that problem here. In class, from time to time, we will actually use some Excel files. So you could just simply click on the link and go to those files. Also, not only that, the classroom problems, I will provide the solutions to them, but provide the solutions after we've completed that particular topic. If I provide the solutions ahead of time, while most of you will actually work the problems out, sometimes people say, well, the solutions are coming, so I don't need to worry about it too much. I do want you to engage with it. And then we have the paper-based assignments that I talked about. I will get those ready as soon as possible. The videos will be here. That's a playlist for the videos, but the fastest way to access the videos is to go through the course outline. Just click on the link, and away you go. Formula sheet. So since we're going to do a paper-based final, you are going to get a formula sheet that is not annotated. But to help you understand the formula sheet, I have created an annotated version and the version without annotation. So we look at those 2. Annotation, no annotation. And so use that to kind of help you study and understand the formulas based on the annotation. But then note that you will not be getting an annotated formula sheet in the exam, but you will be getting a formula sheet. For those of you that are keen to prepare for the paper-based final, you may very well want to use some of Dr. Lee's supplemental questions as practice. He has solutions in there as well, so questions and solutions, and so that could be helpful. There, I believe, are 5 sets of questions that kind of match almost our 5 sets of assignments. So I could make life easier for you by just removing what you wouldn't have to cover and then just leave the last 3. So I believe it'll be problem sets number 3, 4, and 5. I could double check that just to make sure that the right set of questions are in there. And finally, that as I mentioned, I sort of use this bulletin board, electronic bulletin board, for you to post feedback, questions to the entire group. It's a space where everyone could come and either place comments or provide some guidance or answer a question for your peer, but I would also be engaging with that as well. So the questions could be posed to me, but a peer might very well see it and know the answer to it and can answer it. So the answers don't always just have to come from me, it can come from your peers as well. And I will be checking that often, so that and I wanted to use that instead of you sending me an email asking me a question and then waiting for an answer from me, but only you got that answer. I want that answer shared with everybody else. So rather than always be sending, if I say, oh, the class could actually benefit from this, now I'm sending an email to everybody. And then another email. It gets bothersome after a while. So if we just post it on the bulletin board and you check the bulletin board periodically, then you get the answers that you want. So that's pretty much the setup in Brightspace. I hope it's fairly, well structured and understood. And the next step essentially is for us to go to Cengage My tab. So let's just do that quickly. So I come in my case here, and here we go. So there's your course, and the assignments are in here, so you will only be doing 1 and 2 online. I'm going to hide these 3, 4, and 5, but instead place the files. The files could actually be found in here. So you will see there will be a 3, 4, and 5, but it will be an actual file that you'll have to download and then work with that file, as opposed to clicking and doing the assignment online. Number 3, I'm pretty sure when I looked at the topics in number 3 that I want to do it as paper-based. That's the only one that could probably change. So like I'm still right now leaning a 2-3. I will finalize whether or not it is a 3-2, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to stick with 2-3. Okay. All right. Because when we look here, the chapters up to chapter 8, which where we're getting into interval estimation, I think that's fine. And then we go here to chapter 9, there's interval estimation involving 2 populations. But chapter 10 now takes us into hypothesis testing. Unless I move that chapter 10 over here, then we could perhaps do all of the 1, 2, and 3 online. We'll figure it out. Okay. Either way, you'll have sufficient notice to know how to prepare. Other than that, the benefit in terms of using MindTap for you, other than doing the assignments, is that it provides you with some practice problems that you could attempt and see the answers right away. Okay. So there are all these activities you could try out that helps to really do some self-testing. It's totally up to you. It depends on how much time you have. The other thing that's also useful is that a lot of the chapters have additional videos. So while I have my own video, there are some videos, particularly those videos emphasize the sort of rudiments or the mechanics of how to solve a particular problem. They may not get into a deeper problem that requires some explanation, but the mechanics of finding a probabilities and normal distribution, etc. And they will show you that just in case you want to see that again. So I think it's useful. So use it as you need it. All right. And then, of course, you see a practice problem right here that you can certainly attempt on your own. So it's the resources there in case you want to actually take advantage of it. Other than that, the only other thing I would say is that I will open up the online assignments early, so that way if you push ahead of the course, you could certainly go ahead and do them. Why not? And then that way make some space for more time for your other classes. So it's kind of almost like a little bit of a hybrid. You can move a bit faster rather than just being in lockstep with what we do from week to week. So because the video assignments, Video lectures are available. The assignments are there and they are open and you can do them online. If you push ahead and you cover the chapter material and you want to go ahead and do the assignment, hey, why not? And then if you have that done, you say, I understand what we're doing next week and I've already done my assignment, but you need some time to do, say, another course, has a project that's due. I'm not encouraging you to skip classes, but I'm just saying if you free up that time, then why not use it? So the approach or the structure of the course gives you that flexibility that you're not necessarily totally locked into the sequence that we have, or that lockstep. Every week we do this. So if you push ahead and you could get your assignments done and you're satisfied with your performance up to this point and you're ahead of the class by a week or two, particularly students who may want to go away. One student said that they were going to be missing a class. I said, well, the lectures are already recorded. You have the assignments that you could do online. So really it's not creating a problem at all. If we had class participation marks, then that would be an issue. But like I said, I'm not encouraging you to skip class. The course is a step away from an online course by using the platform that I'm using and the approach in the flipped classroom and all of that sort of stuff and recording video lectures. It's really just a step from an online course. Okay, so having said all of that, I think hopefully that I've given you sufficient information on what's in Brightspace and what's in MindTap and essentially how you can approach the course.